talk us through why you wear this as a sort of badge of honour, don't you?
Yeah, it's really hard work being a housewife. I focus on being happy, focus on raising my family, do the finances, but I am a housewife. That is my job. I look after the home. I raise my family, raise my daughter.
And you don't have any problem with the word
not
itself,
at all.
with that being a description?
No, not at all. It's not offensive to me. The term comes from the fact that the woman did run the home. That is what I do. I am a housewife and I'm proud of it.
Eleanor, lots of people getting in touch with this. And Jose says, delighted, or Joe's, I think, might be a short for, delighted to be called a housewife. I've been one for 52 years, baking, cooking for my family and friends, had the time to browse cookery books, brought up my daughter, we're all here for all the events, schools, universities, and now she's a successful GP. Lynn says, I'm in the older generation. When I became a wife and mother, it was the happiest time of my life. She'd love to go back to being a housewife. And then Karina says, there's nothing wrong with the term housewife. There's always domestic logistics engineer as well. But lots of people kind of saying we've let the term housewife be corrupted by people who seem to think that it is embarrassing. It's not at all.
Now, I think it's very clear to be clear from the start that I'm in no way denigrating women who decide to stay at home and look after their families, or, in fact, any parent who decides to do that. My problem is specifically with the term housewife, which implies, A, that you're being kept by a man, or or it's defining a woman as being a wife, primarily, more than anything else. And it's also rather a sexist term in that it implies that a man can't be doing that role. So if we call them the kind of
house husbands.
No, but hang on. If you call them a home front commander or a domestic CEO or something, that kind of a role might feel more enticing to men. And if we're really going to have proper equality between the sexes, we need men to pick up their share in the home as much as women do.
My husband does. He doesn't expect his dinner on the table when he comes home from work. I worked last year for about a year over the weekend. So he worked in the week, worked away. I worked at the weekend. And he did the stuff that I was doing in the week. So he'd look after our daughter and take her out. He'd do the washing. He'd do the cooking. And we shared the jobs. My role is just as important as his role. His role is financial, and my role is doing everything else.
I'm not criticising how you choose to carve up your life. I'm just saying that the actual term housewife doesn't relate to most people in the UK. 3/4 of mothers now work either part-time or full-time inside or out of the home.
Of course, but I don't. So I'm a housewife.
Well, no, exactly, but that's fine. But you are in a tiny minority now. Most families
I know, and a very lucky one, I feel.
Yes, you are very much so. Most families need both salaries to pay the bills. And I think in some ways, really kind of haloing or saying that a housewife is what women now want to be. A, that's not true in terms of the survey. 70% of women say that that's not what they aspire to be anymore. And it's not actually correct in terms of if we want men to pick up the domestic load, to say that woman,
unfortunately, back in 1950, the woman had no choice. That was her job. Like, she was a housewife. She didn't have a choice. The great thing about 2018 is women have choices. And obviously, in the home, as a housewife, I'm not expected to do anything.
No, but most women don't want to be defined as only a housewife, and they don't like the term housewife, even if they like those duties.
Nicki, on that point of the terminology, because, of course, calling it housewife, you are defining yourself, therefore, by your relationship with your husband. You are a wife.
In a house.
And that's
most women don't want to
raises the terminology.
Whereas
actually other people are kind of saying, that's the role that you do as a person, not necessarily in relation to,
exactly.
your role as a wife.
There's plenty of other jobs that have progressed over time, and they still have the same name. Bank clerks don't do what they did in 1940, but there's still bank clerks in the world today.
No, but bank clerk is not a sex-determined or marriage-determined phrase. But housewife implies that you are always in the house and you are somebody's wife. I'm not against people taking up the big domestic challenge.
I don't think it does, because if someone was to ask me, if someone was to actually say, what do you do as a housewife, I would say that obviously I do what people expect. I do the chores and stuff.
If people say to you, what do you say, I'm a housewife?
I'm a housewife.
And you wear that label very proudly.
I'm a housewife. I would never...
Some of the suggestions we've had, Sue says, what about homemaker?
House engineer.
Joe says homemaker, house engineer from Christine, mother, chief household executive.
I like that one.
I like the domestic CEO. And I think then you're much more likely to get a man kind of maybe wanting to aspire to do that
So actually your point is that...
It's about the terminology.
The terminology means that it's far less attractive to men to think, I'll stay at home and look after the children.
Because they wouldn't want to be known as a housewife.
Because they wouldn't want to be known as a housewife. And they
I spoke to her last night, and she said that she has clients, and a few of which are house husbands, and they wear that badge proudly.
Well, I think that's very, very rare.
And men should. If men want to be a house husband, they should be a house husband. There's nothing wrong with that at all. It's not.
I think that now, often in marriages, people swap over. So I've had times when I've been at home being a columnist more and my husband's been in the office, but I wouldn't call him my we wouldn't see himself as a house husband. He was a, freelance gentleman who happened to work from home and do the children.
Actually, I don't think that defines who I am, though. If I have to fill out a form, I would put I'm a housewife if it asks me what my job role is, but I don't go around every day going, I'm a housewife, I'm a housewife. It's just
that's what you're here doing.
Yes, and I am a housewife if I have to generalise what I do, but
it's
I don't.
It's the term that's the problem, not the role.
I think it's actually more the description.
I mean, that's the key thing here, isn't the term for Eleanor? And of course, Nicki, you don't seem to think it's a problem. We ran a Twitter poll with you guys. We asked if the word housewife was sexist. Only 19% of you said that yes, they felt it was a sexist term. 81% said no, that it's not. I wonder if the question had been, would you rather it was a different term rather than housewife? It might have been maybe a different outcome on that. But the idea of it being sexist, they certainly at home don't agree. Thank you very much for joining us, though, Eleanor.
Fascinating discussion. Thanks very much for that. No doubt they'll be discussing that further.